President Cyril Ramaphosa is expected to expedite the signing into law of 3 bills aimed at fighting gender-based violence after Parliament formally passed them. Both houses of Parliament have approved the envisaged pieces of legislation seeking to review the country's laws on domestic violence and sexual offences. The 3 bills are the Domestic Violence Amendment Bill, the Criminal Law Amendment Bill and the Criminal and Related Matters Amendment Bill. The chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Justice, Bulelani Magwanishe, has confirmed that they've all been sent to the President for his consideration before signing them. Now, Javu Baloyi is the spokesperson for the Commission for Gender Equality, and he joins us now via Zoom. Thanks very much indeed for joining us, and welcome to the program.
Good evening, and thank you for having the Commission of Gender Equality.
All right, so these pieces of legislation, what are you particularly interested in those pieces of legislation, and do you think they'll make a difference?
Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that, should they be implemented effectively, they will make a difference. Should those that, are supposed to ensure, particularly from the justice system, where there are systematic issues from the police, where there are issues of, whereby when they investigate issues of gender-based violence, there are issues that, at times, cracks that falls apart. However, should we have an implementation plan as a country, will win the war. However, if we don't have a strategy in implementation of the 3 bills, it will amount to nothing. As a Commission, we have seen it in the past. Remember, South Africa has got lots of legislation, but it boils down to the implementation and the monitoring thereof of those legislation. So, as a Commission, we're hopeful and we're optimistic, cautiously optimistic that this time around, because of even the political will that is there from the justice cluster, and also we need to engage with the police to ensure, as a Commission, that those that are being sent to deal with gender-based violence cases are not novices who do not understand the intricacies and the seriousness of the scourge of gender-based violence in the country.
These bills, what is it about them you think that could be game-changing? Let's look at the Domestic Violence Amendment Bill, for example.
The Domestic Amendment Bill, what it does now, it gives also a leeway. Remember, some of these issues were happening behind the closed doors. It was very difficult to prove issues of domestic violence. Now it also gives police the right to come to these houses and search. It comes also, the kids might also be interviewed in some instances. And that is very helpful, so that it doesn't because negate the issue that most of the violence that is happening in the country, it's happening beyond closed doors, where away from the glee of the public. So it gives a lot of impetus insofar as the legislation is that people can be prosecuted based on the balances of probabilities on this issue. So it helps tremendously, because so that us men who were abusive and some of the women who were abusive within the corridors of the houses will know very well that gone are the days whereby they said it's a family issues, it's a domestic issues, someone has been also bumped against the wall, knowing very well it's a violence act. And that also we give it a thumb up, and we have given inputs as a Commission for Gender Equality.
And I suppose, as you were saying earlier, it's all very well to have these laws, but there's certain points within the prosecution, the policing system, that need to be fixed. For example, a woman, once she's in a situation, how the police react, how they deal with the case is the first step, and often where things already start falling apart.
Exactly, Prapita. What we need to do, police mustn't play the role of social worker. They mustn't play the role of psychologist. They must follow the law. Secondly, all those women who come before the police, at times we will blame the police. No one should be allowed to withdraw the case before it goes to the magistrate or the judge in order to be prosecuted. The withdrawal of the case, that the very same woman who lays a charge and withdraw it later should also be punished. because, they're wasting resources, they're wasting the energy of the Commission for Gender Equality when we vociferously raise the issues of gender-based violence. So that is something which it's going to happen during the 3 bills that are there before the court. We have seen certain cases already that, before even they were enacted, the magistrates were refusing to do that. And also, if police officers must, if you happen to know the person who's coming to lay the charge, don't try to play a mediator in the cases of such nature, because the next thing, the person is going to be killed. You need to follow the law, arrest the person, even if it's my relative, arrest that person so that, justice shouldn't be seen, Brapita, or shouldn't be heard, but should be seen to be done by all of us. And as a commission, will be very, very serious in monitoring what happens before the courts. Whoever doesn't get justice, doesn't get satisfaction, will have to come to the Commission for Gender Equality and ensure that we follow through what then happened. Why will the police not arrest the person? Why will the person be released at a time and not spending time even appearing before the magistrate? Those are the intricate cases that the Commission is very well aware might happen. But we warn the police that a lot of police are losing their jobs now because of playing a role that it was not supposed to be.
And I would imagine, and I've often wondered, where an abuse or an assault has taken place, a man has beaten a woman, for example, why does the woman have to lay charges? A crime has been committed. Surely the police should step in whether she is able to lay charges or not, because most times women are too afraid to lay charges.
Basically, it's because of the secondary victimization that they suffer before the police. The type of the questions that are being asked by the police, even before the magistrate. You might have heard the Omotoso case as a point in case whereby it scares a lot of people. At times, we need to say to the victims and survivors of gender-based violence, we believe you, we trust you, that rape has happened, that gender-based violence has happened, verbal abuse is happening in this place, and we think it's going to be physical next time. And the police must just open the case and say, look, let's deal with this, and take the perpetrator, investigate. Because should we secondary victimize these women of gender-based violence, they will never come forward, and they will die in silence, and then we'll say the signs were there. And also, it is very, very important, Brapita, that the neighbors should also be allowed to open cases. We had a scenario whereby a neighbor opened a case against a family. The very same police alerted the family that it's your neighbor who opened the case. We don't want those things. Hence, we're saying very strongly to the police that, let them do what is right, let them follow the law, and do what is just and fair for the victims and survivors of gender-based violence, so that we can move on and arrest the scourge of gender-based. It's a pandemic on its own. 10,000 women in the first quarter, Brapita, have been raped. What about those who were physical abuse? What about those who were not reported? So the police, we must work together with them. Yes, we support the police, but where they're wrong, we know we need to say it that they're wrong and correct their ways before it impact very seriously on society.
Have you been able to determine whether the police themselves fully understand the laws? Because sometimes I do get a sense that police officers don't often actually know the laws that they're supposed to be enforcing, and then things slip through the net.
I'm glad you have asked that question. We have subpoenaed twice the National Police Commissioner, Commissioner Kehla Stoll, and his deputies. And the other time they came by on their own. You know what I liked about the top brass of the police? They realized that the cracks are down there on the stations. The commission has been going throughout the country with various police stations in order to assist them, to capacitate them. They do not understand how to implement the law. And one of the mistake that we're making, the 6 months that they're going to training, we do not teach them about the Constitution, the rights of people, about the gender-based violence. They pass out and come to society and implement something that, somebody tells them, these are the thing. Some of them, they don't read, they don't understand, even the documents that they're supposed to. Even some of, Brapita, you will laugh, even some of the affidavits that are being written. A person is asked who can't even narrate the story very well to write the affidavit so that the police will put just a stamp. They will be talking amongst themselves. They don't ask crucial questions. However, we are engaging with the police. We are grateful to the National Police Commissioner who, if everything goes well, there was a time that, we nearly signed a memorandum of understanding with them because we wanted to assist them. Because the issue for us is not to speak ill of police all the time, but what is it that we're doing as a commission in order to ensure that, we capacitate them. We help these novices. Some of them are coming from matric and get this opportunity to serve as a police. But we need not only the Commission for Gender Equality, even the Human Rights Commission must come on board and assist them so that they know what is the Constitution of the Republic. They know these 3 bills that are coming with the president to sign. What they must do in an event, that's the gender-based violence. And also, we believe that there's supposed to be prioritization of gender-based violence, and also special forces and special task team that deals with these cases should be in place so that, even the learners, the new ones, must learn from the senior ones who have been there, have seen it all. Because oftentimes, Peter, the cases of gender-based violence, you go to Springs Magistrate Court. It's because of the way the information has been collected, and people are left to look at the school patroller. He went scot-free because of, the logistics and because of the way in which information was corrected. And then that's what, as a commission, we are doing, and in order to assist the police, and we'll continue to do so, to work with the police, not only with the police, magistrate and prosecutors, so that they do understand the hecticness of our work and the psychological impact it has on us when people come back to us to say, Gender Commission, you said this, but it's not happening in the police on the grassroots level.
And perhaps finally, I guess, these new laws are great, but as you say, they have to be enforced and then prosecuted. And I guess part of that journey is having capacity at our courts, because a lot of these cases can sit for years and they fall by the wayside. And as you say, there's always the vulnerability of them being withdrawn. With the scourge of gender-based violence, do you think we should have dedicated courts like the Labour Court, for example, just to deal with gender-based violence?
Yes, most definitely. The President on the 10th of June has announced that there will be 32 more dedicated courts, sexual offences courts, which will deal with gender-based violence cases. And we want to believe that it will go to the most rural provinces like Limpopo, Mpumalanga, Eastern Cape and Northern Cape. And we need those courts. The one the point and example, or it's one in here in Thokoza, the Springs Magistrate Court. It works so well that, all the cases that are going there, because you have a magistrate who sits there all day long dealing with these cases. And if we can have them in all the regions and all the regional courts, it will be helpful, because some of the cases, Peter, there was one case in Hammanskraal, it took 7 years to prosecute before the Commission for Gender Equality got involved. But we have seen with Oscar Pistorius, it took only 6 months, because there were dedicated people who wanted to assist, who wanted to make sure the case is arrested as speedily as possible. And we will applaud that if the President can make due to his promise of having this and the Minister of Justice, so that we have them in all the regions, in all the far-flung areas, so that the perpetrators of this heinous crime, they will know that our justice system is working, can self-correct, and it can be seen by everyone that it's working for every South African.
Mr. Baloyi, thank you very much indeed for joining us, and let's hope that these new laws will have effect and not just sit in our statute books. Thank you so much indeed for your time.
You're most welcome. Thanks. Bye.